Yeah, rapradar podcast, Elliott Wilson.
It's B.Dot.
B.Dot, what's up, baby?
Feeling good, man.
Man, it's very Queens right now.
Yes, sir.
The man himself, man. This guy don't do a lot of talking, man.
He's the PLK.
Lloyd Banks, man.
Banks,
My man.
Respect,
My man.
brother.
My man.
Long time no see, Banks.
Oh, man. Just not in person. Just not in person. But I feel good. I'm happy to be here with you brothers.
Yeah.
I appreciate what y'all do.
Thank you, bro.
I'm ready to get the ball rolling.
Word.
No, because you shocked us by, hopping out last year with the Course of the Inevitable, right? A lot of us didn't see that shit coming.
Yeah.
And then right back at us with number 2. Like,
Yeah.
What's the motivation? Like, you outside, it feels like.
That's a good question. I always been motivated, you know what I mean? To be honest with you, self-motivated. And I'm always working, So even when I'm, not actively out there and putting music out, like this is what I do as a muse for me, Damn, I knew I forgot something on my way here. I told myself I was going to bring my books.
Oh, the rhyme books, yeah. I want to talk about that.
Damn.
So you're that traditional MC that you literally have the rhyme books.
I have back before Spirals, like composition books.
Wow.
The black and white
And I
joints.
swear I had it in my mind, but I wear it out of hat, so I had to get all my merch together. I'm carrying boxes, getting it ready for the concert. And
Yes, sir.
And it slipped my mind, but yeah, I was gonna bring my books because even when, like I said, I'm not actually working on something, I'm still like getting my, E40 told me one time when he was doing a verse for Beamer, Benz and Bentley, like a remix, and he said, I'm gonna hit you back later, player, let you know how my pen is cooperating with me. You know what I mean? So
Real shit.
that's kind of been on my mind before that, but he kind of put it in perspective, and I just feel like repetition and that pen is like a superstitious type of thing for me. I don't want to lay it down and fear I'll pick it up and it doesn't cooperate with me the way I want it to. You know
Remember
what I mean?
you had a line once, you said something that you caught some of your old stuff, old demos, and it made you relapse. Is that from one of those?
I got so much material that I never actually put out, but like I'm the worst at like crumbling papers up.
Okay.
So it's out of all the verses you've heard, it's been versions of those verses that I ripped up and crumbled up.
Right.
That's why I make references to like got records better than things I've heard in my garbage can. You know what I mean? I'm my big, but that's because I write maybe like a verse or two per day, especially when I'm on tour, and just keeping things around me that would bring me back to that comfort zone in my crib, whether it's like DVDs or magazines, Source magazines, XXL magazines, flipping through pages. Because when you're real young, you got to fight for the television. And that's kind of like, how you got like the Instagram and you got like the Explore page. It'll just kind of give you, what do you call it, algorithm of just a bunch of different things that you like to see. That was my cheat code.
Right.
Like flipping through pages and see like, all right, Mercedes-Benz ad, okay, boom. Bad Boy Records ad, boom. No Limit ad, boom. Hennessy, boom. And then I would find ways to flip those metaphors in between the content that I would keep them, you know what I mean?
You know what's crazy about it? Because like I think the way you came in the game, and we'll go back to a little more, but like you obviously was this young sensation. Like you just took off out the gate. But knowing you more and more as the years go on, to understand how much a student of the game you are, how much respect you have for the culture, and how knowledgeable you are, the culture and the things that came before you. Like, how important is that, and how does that continue to shape your art?
Sometimes I feel like I'm on an island by myself, to be honest. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's expected when you like 20, 21. I came in the game 19. So, you like super duper smooth and you don't make no mistakes, and I get money between the raindrops and I can't fall, and, you know what I mean? Like, but then as you go on, you start to put things back into perspective. We all came in this game, not all, but from my generation and prior to that, I believe they all wanted to be a dope MC. You know what I mean? So my early inspirations were like, ranging from Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and then like Slick Rick, right? So now you got like, Rakim is like the ultimate MC, you know what I mean? And then you got Kane, which to me was a dope MC, but he had like a style tune.
Brought the style to the game.
You know what I mean?
Right. The fly shit to the game.
So like my pops was like a big Kane fan. So that I was consistently hearing that. So when I would hear like Smooth Operator and certain things like that, that's kind of like where I got that type of swag from.
Yeah.
And then you got Slick Rick, which was like the more colorful artist, you know what I mean? And then it kind of branched off from that to like Nas, which was like Rakim 2.0, right? Then you got Biggie, which is like Kane, because he's a dope lyricist, a lot of flows, and he got the style. And then
Banks out here teaching, man. He's teaching right now.
And then Slick Rick turned into Snoop Dogg.
Right.
And you think about it, it's not a coincidence that Snoop Dogg has a record, Lottie Dottie,
first one,
doing his rendition of that. You know what I mean? So it's like each of those generations, I found the dominant influences, and I merged myself in between those people.
It seems like you're influencing yourself with the course of an inevitable. What's the meaning behind that title?
Oh, the course of the inevitable. Man. All right. So
we're here, Banks. We're here for you, brother.
Yeah. Because it's the short answer, and then it's like what's really going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Man plans, God laughs, right?
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of people say, well, you should be here in your career, or you should be here, or you could have done this, or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't factor in like real life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the gist of this concept is just like staying the course, right? Like regardless of what may be a fad or, going on around you that feel like they should sway you into a different direction, like stay focused on what you want to do, you know? And it's going to be a hectic road most of the time, especially the way we come into the industry. Like, so whether it's a left turn, right turn, potholes, you might have to bust a U-turn sometime, be a fork in the road.
Right.
And I said on the record, it'll be cul-de-sacs, you know what I mean? You want to see people throughout your life in similar places, you know what I mean?
Right.
You might start over here and see them. So it's constant references in your life to things that'll humble you at certain points. And I feel like my goal as an MC and where I see myself in my career when it's all over is inevitable. And the work ethic that I put in, and that's with anything. If you do negative things consistently, it's gonna heighten your chances to go here, But if you stay the course, I can't control everything.
I noticed you're a fan of the sequel, so why was it important to make this one a sequel?
Because, and it's crazy because the last project had 18 records on it. But I feel like I said, I spent so much time like wowing the crowd, you know what I mean? Getting oohs and ahs with the punchlines and things. But as I'm getting older, my fan base are getting older as well.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And my messages are starting to change. My DMs are changing, when I do concerts or, my fans have children now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It seems like that because while I listened to it, it feels like COTI 2 was a little bit more legacy-minded as opposed to
For sure.
COTI 1. It felt like you were trying to separate yourself from your peers lyrically.
And on this one, I intentionally tried to be a little upfront and straightforward in the beginning as far as the aggression and the tempos.
Impact.
Well, I
to
love those
remind
first 4
people,
tracks.
but
Knock
that,
them in the head.
that all goes into what I was saying, like no path is the same. You know what I mean? So that's why you got records like, not to speed up the process, but like Dead Roses.
Yeah, Dead Rose, right?
Because like I don't wanna be that perfect person no more. That's a mystique that comes along with, that bravado and just being a dope rapper, but I want to be more relatable, to my peer and to the audience. You know what I'm saying?
You said that's your favorite song on the album, right?
It switches up, but that's my favorite just because I actually had that when I'm recording, or writing rather, I put records that kind of don't belong, meaning like they could kind of go anywhere, right?
Because Dead Roses kind of feels like a companion to Don't Switch Up, even a little bit vice versa.
It could have went on Cold Corner too. It coulda went on, you know what I mean? You get those heat seekers and you're like, this is the one. So I was kind of holding off with that, but it just made sense going into the course of the inevitable because it's continuing on and there's so much I have to talk about. And I felt like this is where I'm at in life right now. So why get off that topic so quickly when there's so many different things to touch on?
Yeah, what's your thing with that with like giving people their flowers, whatever? Like you said, like some of that doesn't feel authentic to you, rather. You say the sympathy is staged. So like, talk about your view of the whole situation.
Well, meaning that is just basically like, sometimes people show up to the concert, right? sometimes people show up to the funeral. You know what I mean? And in the event, sometimes that happens for people to make amends. Like sometimes people make amends at funerals. Like, yo, you know, we gotta stop this shit. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, you didn't realize that before this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, the sympathy stage, I mean, we come from, it's not too much empathy where we come from. You know what I mean? And especially now, with the internet, it's like, you know what I mean? You see somebody get stabbed in the neck, some niggas walk over him, film him, don't even try to help, you know what I mean? It's just more like, okay, that happened. And they're finding humor in the most fucked up shit.
Right.
Even with the youngins, you know what I mean? Like, rappers be 19, 20 years old getting killed, and they'll find a way to make like a joke out of whatever his name is. You know what I mean? And that shit is
mentioned
like,
on record.
when we lose artists, in particular like rap artists, that shit starts hitting me like in a different way. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we was like, you know, like shacking them when they be in the, you know, like it's like like we a part of this thing of ours. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel that way. Like if I was in the NBA, like we don't have a boardroom, you know what I mean? We don't go sit to the table with the players and be like, yo, we need to change this or change that. But I feel that way, you know what I'm saying? So when I see artists pass, whoever it is, I feel like I gotta pay my respects because I genuinely feel like I lost a peer. You know what I mean?
That's why at the end of the record, you talking about how you want to have your roses while you can still smell them.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of flowers up there, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, say it now. And that go for everybody. That's not just like, I'm not expecting it from just like, you know, supporters and things like that, but just between your peer too. You know what I mean? Because like I said, when we come into this, you know how they say you're like institutionalized. Like, we are kind of the same way with these record labels. You know what I'm saying? So you got 15 artists on Def Jam, 15 artists on Interscope, 15 over here. Coming in the game, you start looking at that side like the ops. You know what I mean? Right. That's the way. This is in the best interest for the overseers to make it like that. Now I understand being competitive, you know, but at a certain time, it's like, come on, brother. Like,
but you come on the track on Impact kind of like that with that mentality. Talk about how you want your get back. Do you feel like you're owed something right now in this game?
I feel like, to be honest with you, this is my selfish moment. Because, you know, I talk to people and they be like, you know, what else do you want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've had hit records, you've had all those sort of things, those moments.
Yeah. I mean, I have to have some type of get back mentality in my mind because I've took breaks. Yeah. You exceed other people's expectations before your own. You feel me? So when the first mixtapes would come out, people in the neighborhood might have thought you either were rich already or you reached your ceiling up here in your own mind. But in your eyes, you like, I'm not really on until I sell platinum. But that wasn't the reality. Maybe back then you had artists coming out with gold albums that were considered classics, you know what I mean? But going into the early 2000s, all them crazy numbers started happening. You know what I mean?
But I didn't realize that the time when you did 50 Cent in the Future, you got into an incident and you got shot around that time. I didn't realize that at the time. So you thinking like, oh, this young boy's on fire with the unit and like everything's taking off, and then you in a club in Queens and things go a certain way.
Yeah, and I literally was telling myself like, yo, what are you doing? Like, I can't die. I believe in like manifesting things, you know what I mean? And I put so much, not just me, you know, all of us, you know what I mean? Like we would sit and talk about who we were as a personality, as a character, and really like dream on it, you know what I mean? Even though we were still like, we were dope, you don't get me wrong, like I felt the energy there. That lightning struck 3 times within the same 3-block radius, you know what I mean? Like that energy was different, but.
What you mean in that sense, the 3-block radius?
We grew up right here.
You, Yayo, 50,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't really have to go too far to look, you know what I mean? But like I said, we all had that innocence of wanting to be a dope rapper, a dope MC, you know what I mean? But we felt the need to do it. What else you gonna do? You know, go here and act like this is not really what's our main objective. So we would sit and think about how we gonna perform. You know, this is who you are. Who are you, Banks?
Gotcha.
All right, you got this draw to the females or whatever. This is what you should lean into. You know what I mean? What's your name? Is that a dope name? You know what I mean? Like, Nah,
it's
for
like
real,
an
like-
accountant, Lloyd Banks. But now hip hop is like Lloyd Banks.
How does that-
It's authoritative now. It's like,
Right.
oh shit, Lloyd Banks is like.
So when
nice.
you think
like,
about all
saying
of
that.
the names, you know what I'm saying? It all kind of just fits in. You know?
Also,
Lloyd
he would
Banks,
shout the
Young
names
Bud,
out
Tony
on the-
Yayo,
yeah.
50 Cent. It's all like,
Right.
You would shout them out like on the mixtapes, like strategically. I was like, the artists don't establish themselves. Like you felt when you heard those tapes, you knew who everybody was. You was being set up like, this is Lloyd Banks' moment.
sure.
This is Tony Yayo's moment.
but you had to know who, you know, they don't have artist development like that too much now. You know what I mean? You know, I was able to have a real good reference to that how you should lean, whether left, right, or whatever. So it was like I did have like a very good cheat code to be able to sit and know how to develop records. You know what I
But
mean?
you was a young savage back then.
But if you look at my verses, they were all like 50 bar cadences. You know what I mean?
no, of course.
48 bars. That's 3 verses put together because that was my strategy, like rapping on the street. It was like the average dude. Well, nobody really knew what a 16 was.
Yeah,
But I kind of did and didn't, and I would just purposely make. Victory is probably, if not 50 bars, 48 bars.
Yeah.
Banks Workout, same thing.
Yeah.
So the whole goal was to
I-
try to keep people entertained and not get drowned out. I'll get into that.
But I was gonna say is like, you know, speaking about the early days, you know, like this year marks the 20th anniversary of the G Unit mixtapes. 50 Cent is the future.
For sure.
No Mercy, No Fear, and God's Plan. Like, if you take us back to 2002, what was it like for you during that time?
Shit. Oh man.
We got time, Banks. Your
got
show's
time.
not till later. I promise.
That was, man, honestly, that was like the best.
Does it feel like 20 years?
Yeah and no. Yeah and no. That was like, I can honestly say like probably my favorite year.
02?
02?
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Even like more than like my solo album. Yeah. Cause, you know, going into that time, like I said, you know, from sitting in the house, from literally like, 8 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, just talking, you know what I mean? Just talking about how it's gonna be, what to expect. You know what I mean? Like really preparing for this shit, you know? We would like to say we were like gearing up for the long run, but that'd be a lie, yo. Like niggas was talking about how to be like a tornado. Like not, hey, we from over here, like tornado. Everything stopped, move the fuck out the way. Yeah, like that type of energy, that urgency. You know what I mean?
It was interesting because we were talking about when 50 Cent and Future dropped, you were front and center.
For sure.
And like, was that strategic? Because I
Yeah.
think I read somewhere that 50 said that you were supposed to be the first solo act, or
It was a little too early.
Okay.
At that point, I just think I was the youngest. You know what I mean? And he was just pushing me in the front. Not even just there, like other magazine shoots and things of that. Like even after that, he would make me the focal point, put me in the front and shit. And like even going into like the first albums and stuff, like to come off that many records sold on the first album, like I'll be lying to you if I thought that the contracts would have been presented to us that quick. To be going from Get Rich or Die Trying to Beg for Mercy that fast, right? Yeah. And then to be going from Beg for Mercy to my solo album.
Yeah.
I was happy with the guys and what we were doing. That shit was super fun, you know what I mean? And then when it turns into who you are as an artist, it's like, okay, sit down and all them talks you had, nigga, you know what I mean? About who you were and how dope you were as a solo act. Now it's time to prove it.
I saw you say to my guy Joe Budden, Hunger for More, like you would make some changes to that record. But I don't know if you was this specific about it. Like, what do you mean when you make changes to it? Because it's pretty solid. I mean, I don't know if it's not classic, it's borderline classic, right? Like it's that level of like quality of it. But when you look back at it, being the perfectionist you are, you said you might want to make some changes.
Certain things I will probably change. I feel like I covered a lot of points on it, but it's just, I'm pretty sure every artist probably has a record that they would want. You know what I mean? Like in particular, like shook ones.
you gotta leave Southside Story alone though.
Even Southside Story, I can't really pinpoint what made me do that, but I just think it's from being a fan of so many different artists. You know what I mean? So shit is happening in my head that I have no control over because, I've literally been, my closet doors used to have every logo in hip hop cut out and taped on that shit. From Cash Money Records to fucking hieroglyphics. You feel me? So my range is all the way from like Spice One and fucking Souls and Mischief.
Thanks for putting the playlist together, man. Thanks for the playlist together.
Delta Funky, Homo Sapien, Boss.
Boss.
That was, man. To this day, I still go back and just get a vibe off that. Off Boss. She was like,
she was nice.
The toughest to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know she was from Detroit.
Yeah.
Deeper.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They sold her as West Coast.
Yeah.
Right. So all of that, then Coogee Rap and LL Cool J.
But was you cognizant of that again? Because again, you're like goddamn LeBron. Like you came in the golden child,
right? And
you took off, right?
Yeah.
So like, how are you dealing with that? Like I know the one reason I use like a junior 21, you become a millionaire. Like how are you dealing with all that like attention and like 50 sets you up and then you knock it out the park and you're really looked at as that like you're the new sensation in hip hop.
Yo, shit was crazy. Like my album was recorded. Well, Beg for Mercy was recorded on a tour bus, right?
Yeah.
So we already moving.
Yep.
Seeing different cities and just endless content, right? And then I remember like just laying on the bunk in the tour bus and just coming up with that, with Hunger for More, just piecing. But I did have ideas from writing on my, in my neighborhood, like on my stoop, like in front of my house, like, whenever we would stop. So that was like the blessing to have material that I started before I had any money, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not like I wrote Hunger for More rich.
Oh, so you had a lot of those lyrics and contents and ideas already?
The ideas, like South Side Story, certain things I had from when I was still in that mindset. You know what I mean? That's why like it wasn't like too like, gaudy talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was still like Army fatigues. This is what it is. I'm still learning on the job. But to answer your question, it's just certain songs that I would have tweaked.
Yeah.
If I could go back and do it. That's why I asked Joe that question.
But it felt like a shift happened like during Victory's freestyle. I felt like that was like a watershed moment for your career, right? I remember asking you about that one time. Like, so you can talk about that shift.
Classic. How do you do a classic freestyle off a classic record and like both things have their own dope identity, right? Like it doesn't take away from, and I know Biggie was such an inspiration. Like Victory is still Victory, but your freestyle is its own classic.
Yo,
in this situation,
it's crazy, man.
What do you write there? Where are you writing that?
No.
Where does
he
that
wasn't in
come
$1 million studio.
No, I definitely was not. I can't really pinpoint where I wrote it.
And that's in the rhyme book, right? Those lyrics are in the rhyme book.
Yeah, I have that.
I
have that in my Actually, I might have it on my phone. So when this is over, I'll send you the shot. You can put it up or something. But I actually have that. But oh man, just all right. What it really was because I had Banks' workout already.
Banks' workout, right?
First album, yeah.
So the response I was getting off of that was like, damn, because even prior to that, when we was doing like 1, 3, 4 All-Star tapes, we still were doing like 16 bars. You know what I mean?
Right,
we couldn't really get much more than that off.
Everybody had to get a verse.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to that cadence or whatever. So I just tried to follow up and going through instrumentals because before I was writing over niggas' raps. You know what I mean? Before I actually got my hands on instrumentals, I was just literally block whatever they were saying out and get to it. And that was the first record I was able to perform like as a solo, like my moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where everybody gets behind me.
Yeah.
They'll leave the artist will leave the stage and just leave me up there. And I was, after going over and over, I would just get better and better at performing because, I started off like.
But when you're writing it, does it feel like this is extra special?
Yeah, hell yeah. At that no, I mean, it's an audacity at that time, right? Because there's a lot of dope MCs that I was looking at that time. Yeah, I felt it. I knew what the 4-bar. I don't want to give away all my secrets, but my goal was to hit every 4 bars, right? Every 4 bars. So a setup punch. And then boom.
Little melody.
Boom.
You said,
But if you go back to those freestyles, they're still out there. You can look them up. 1 through 4 All-Star tapes when I'm like 16, 17 years old. And I always had bouncy cadences. So I figured out how to hit with the heavy metaphors, but then switch the flows up. So it's not just the same punchline all the way through. It was never that. That's why Victory was tolerable. That's why you can listen to it because it just wasn't that. Or listen to Banks' Workout too.
I was trying to think what does it kind of compare to if you really think about it. Maybe in Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares. Like the energy of it. Like the way, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna put a fair comparison, like I was like, why is it so special? I was like really trying to figure out.
Up.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, that shit is, like I said, that was the one that I could perform. It's crazy. Yeah. Shout out to Master P, man.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, did he ever?
The first tour we did was with Master P.
Oh man,
you said this shit could get ugly in the Master P sneaker.
But it was coming from a.
That was
no malice.
That was ugly sneaker though, Banks. I love Master P, but that was.
But it didn't take a lot of thought.
Yeah,
like I said, this is me flipping through pages in magazines. You know what I mean? At that time, he had a lot of ads. You know what I mean?
That's how you got it.
But then I think about, go back to COTI too, because it's like, how do you drop a classic without going through the controversy, Banks? How do you do it?
I was always wired like that.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can't be the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I didn't lean on being controversial. I wanted to be, like I said, at that time, it was a lot of smoke there because you're a part of this big record label.
Yep.
You know, there's times I've been in some of my first studio sessions was like, Snoop is right here. You know what I mean? He got his man rolling up like 10 blunts in like 20 minutes.
Yep.
Right? And you got Dre right there. You got 50 right here.
You get to see Eminem in real life. Eminem in real life and shit. Like,
shit was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was, listen, man. I'm fresh out of high school. You know
what did Master P say? I'm sorry.
He was just like, yo, that shit is dope. Like, he was like, that shit dope. I forgot exactly what he said.
Master P love the ugly to Master P sneak a lot.
Yeah. It's not even, it's been a lot of people that was, you know, at the opposite end of those punchlines, but it didn't come from a place of malice or nothing. And I have super respect for these guys. Like even rest in peace, Big Mo. I believe his name was like.
Yeah, Big Mo.
I had a line and one of them, I think in the Soldier, right? Stuff. And I did, exactly. And the last thing I wanted to do was disrespect that man. That was not my intentions. And I hadn't even been to these markets yet to even know what that music meant in certain places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you hadn't experienced it.
Yeah, like I seen something it was about with E40 and like Biggie, like
Yeah.
You gotta understand, we only know, first of all, hip hop is dominated by New York in that time frame.
Yep.
Right? So that's what you come up on. So when you start hearing different styles and accents and shit, you know, it could come across like, what? He said, what? What'd he say? You know what I mean? And they probably looking at us like that too. Yo, son, you know, B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What up, B? Right. So it wasn't coming from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of competitors, how competitive was it with you guys during that era?
Between us?
Yeah.
Super competitive.
Because when you listen to the freestyles,
especially when you bring game in, right? When you bring game in,
before, I mean, not really, because we didn't have a lot of time recording amongst each other. Like maybe like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
G-Unit radio days.
Yeah.
But before that, it was real. It was like, is this my nigga? You know what I mean? Like,
because Yayo brought you in, right? That's how you got down, right?
But we were already, me and Ye was already doing like freestyles. That's what got me into the mix. Was like, it didn't take a lot of convincing. You know what I mean? The G-Unit Soldiers.
G-Unit Soldiers, yeah.
That freestyle was done on a mixtape prior. My man, rest in peace, Fat Shy. So
Fat Shy, right?
I went over there to 50 with the idea that I had to like rap for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. It was like, you know what I mean? What's the say that shit? The TV's hanging from the ceiling. And I said it, and I was like, well, I got more. I was like, nah, I'm cool. I don't need no more. I was like, I didn't really know what to think at that moment. But yeah, after that, man.
You don't think I'm nice? What? Like, ooh.
Yo, the competitive shit was crazy at that time.
Okay, give us what stands out to you as a super competitive moment?
All right.
Between everybody.
Well, every day was like that because those mixtapes you named, God's Plan, 50 Cent is the Future, Automatic, those shits was all done in like 2 days.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, if 50 goes in and does the chorus, you already knowing that verse, that verse is gonna get done in within 10 minutes, right? So then you got 10 minutes to make your 8 bars, and then I got 10 minutes to do mine. So if you miss that rotation, you just gonna miss that song. Ain't no going back.
Yeah.
Because
that song's going out.
We already driving to Long Island to the studio. I ain't got no fucking car. I could double back and be like, yo, Shy, I'm coming back. It wasn't like that. If you don't get it done here, you ain't getting on the record. Right. So, and that determined who went first, who went last, and shit like that. It wasn't like no swapping verses. Move this here. Maybe once in a blue. But for the most part, it landed.
You had to get it in
the order we recorded.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I would say when you listen to that shit, 50 was in such a zone with them hooks and melodies.
Shit it was happening.
It was insane.
Getting a haircut, you know what I mean? In the process of getting a haircut, you just never know. Some shit that just happened right there. And that work ethic, I had like two Best of Banks tapes before my album, and not like 15 songs. I'm talking about like 28 songs.
Just running one before you walked in.
You know what I mean? And that was crazy for me because, you know, the gun was in my face on the first cover, so people didn't really know what I looked like. Right? So I was still going to the bootleggers and getting away with that. So I go to the bootleggers and kind of air hustle. Because literally, 90% of people that was coming into that mixtape store was coming to get that G-Unit tape.
Definitely was on 165 flavors.
He's a Southside
getting the tape. That shit was like crack, man. You couldn't get enough of G-Unit at the time.
Yo, that shit was crazy, man. And I probably wasn't even supposed to be there, but that shit just felt like, oh man. You know what it kind of reminds me, because I'm sitting here in this venue, like, imagine like sitting here and seeing all the people fill in. Like that ain't usually how it happens. Like you get here and everybody's already there. Like, oh shit. So that was kind of like the
you see them all joining this thing.
The guilty pleasure I had was going to the spot and just being a fly on the wall.
When people try to explain it, I try to explain what the 50 Cent being an XXL with the whole 50 Cent G-Unit thing is like. You guys were like running the underground and then took over the mainstream, but then still was the kings of the underground at the same time. We had never seen that in hip hop. And then when you do the 800K, and it's like
I took pride in that shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like you was the hottest in the hood still, and a nationwide, worldwide phenomenon at the same time.
Like I said, we wasn't too far removed. Everything happened so fast, but I don't know, man. I guess we were like turned out from the response, man, and just coming through the hood and just, you know, seeing the records get played and the live reaction and what it meant to be like respected in that way, right? Like I love On Fire. Right, that record was huge.
Changed your life.
It was on Fantastic Four in the movie.
It was huge.
Kwame too with the polka dot.
Shout out to Kwame.
Shout out to Kwame.
Shout out to Kwame. But you know, you start to question yourself sometime because you know you have records like I Got 5 on it. You know what I mean? Like records that was just like organically like classic. You know what I mean? So like if a question is like what I want to do, it's like I just want to tap back into just being dope.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to follow the rules no more. Like, you know, put your hands up or choreograph records and shit like that. I just kind of want to do what just comes off as dope to me.
Right. Yeah. Now, although you had album success, obviously the fans are gonna love COTI too. It seems like the fans love you more for the mixtape banks. Like, why do you think they gravitate more to that style of?
Because that was, all right. Because that's when they could get away with. They had an excuse to be ignorant at that time. You know what I mean? You got a poster boy for that ignorance.
Right.
So if you were 20 at that time, I'm 20. That's your excuse to, you know, still be like.
Talking about the G-Unit era?
No, I'm talking about the.
He's talking about Cold Corner, nothing, like
specifically those, like the Cold Corner 2s.
Which ones? Because they have very different.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people swear like the Cold Corner 2, V6, FNO, ANO, Halloween Havoc.
So that's all right. So the order was 2009. This is after like Hip Hop DX and all hip hop. Yeah. All those sites and shit. I used to
like in that blog era.
Where you could first read the blog, see the comments.
Yeah, we're about to start rapradar.
2009, 2010. Right.
So the first time you could see a nigga say, you washed up. Think about it.
You didn't like that, Banks? You didn't like that?
Hell no. Before that, you're not gonna get that. Where you gonna get it at?
Yeah.
Right. 6 and Park?
Right.
You wash, nigga. It don't go like that. So I'm reading comments like, oh, okay. Then you gotta grasp the idea that they're comfortable because they're in front of the laptop.
Yeah.
You know, so part of it could be, this is really how you feel.
Yep.
Or he's trolling. But trolling didn't even have a name yet.
Right.
Yeah, he's getting it off.
So I just took it as, that's how he feel. Oh, you feel like, what? All right. So that gave me that drive to go, that my goal was to turn as many of those people into saying, I did think that at this point, but he's showing and proving now. reading them comments.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
The hateful commentators led to a
this shit
historic
worked,
mixtape catalog.
Because this is before bots and all that. This is before like
Yeah.
same comments. You know how them comments now, you could be like, that's not even a real person.
Right.
These was real niggas, man.
Yeah, it was.
So I was like, fuck that. My goal is to change all that. 2009, Return of the POK,
Woo.
Halloween Havoc,
Halloween Havoc series.
Cold Corner, the first one, the birthday tape, 43082, which was double CD, and then V5, which led into Beamer Benson Bentley.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, that's what I mean about the manifestation shit. Like I felt like I had to strike 5 times.
Which tape are you the most proud of?
Cold Corner 2.
Cold Corner 2? Yeah. That seems to be the fan favorite. The Love Shots.
Oh man, Jokes
Keep
on
It Cool.
You. Keep
that
It
was
Cool.
my joints,
I think Shock the World was on that shit too.
Yeah. I like the F&O joint. My Flight.
That's
fire.
My Flight. Is My Flight F&O?
Yeah, it's F&O.
See, but like I said before, like when I put that tape out, they weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
They wasn't ready for it. Like all my tapes start off aggressive. You know what I mean? Prodigy type shit. My mom was like, I gotta get P. You know, to start
Prodigy makes some great music together. I remember the joint on Rotten Apple, Clap Back. That was my shit.
Oh,
man.
Get Clap?
Yeah, Get Clap, yeah.
Fun on me and Get
Clap. He was crazy.
Yo, man.
Prodigy's one of your favorites, obviously.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Prodigy was like, after the Nas wave and all that, like P was just like, man. So shout out to Red Spider. At that time, I had went to his studio and he had a link with Prodigy. That's the first person that I went to get a record with. And it was over, I was bugging, but my request was to do it over one of their beats. So it was over Mobb Deep Get Dealt With.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Feel me?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was like, yo, Banks, I'll fuck with you so much, I'll do it. Just because it's you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like somebody cutting me now, like, yo, let's do I'm So Fly over. It's like, nah, my nigga. You know what I mean? So that was crazy to me, man. Like I said before, like that shit, rest in peace to Prodigy, man. That shit hit me like a ton of bricks.
The fans are still upset at you though, man. 2016, you
What I
said
do?
he was about to put out Cold Corner 3. There's no Cold Corner 3. Is that still happening?
See, that's the tricky part. How do they not know COTI is Cold Corner 3?
Oh, I don't know. What's in the name?
You don't know, but the reason why I say that is it's the branding.
Right.
It's what I learned by, not accident, but just, I guess just, repetition, like just what we were bred to do, you know what I mean? So those logos and shit eventually turned into a mystique of its own, like, you know what I mean? Like the silhouettes. If you look, I got mixtapes with me as a silhouette.
True,
and shit. Because I was trying to reverse the cycle. I was trying to, how do you go back to being when you didn't know what I looked like?
Right. But you're traditionally a private person, right? And I noticed like on COTI 1,
very much.
you have your son featured on the cover.
Right.
Why was that like a decision that you chose to put him on there?
My kids, my son that's my world right there. Like, I just, like when I just look at him, I just look at, if I ain't get anything else right, I got that right there. And like I said, I know my fans, man, they're in a different space. And I think it's important to show me as a father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So your kids are the only thing keeping you alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because it's like, regardless of what goes on, in this world, like that's what I got a reason to go home now. You know what I mean? Like I didn't I was touring, man, from fucking, 19 years old to 34 years old. Yeah. I didn't have nothing to come home for, right? It's just like, you going home? No, we going over here. We going here. I bet I'm going. Yeah. Now it's like, job done? Like, I'm going home. Like when my daughter was like, my first flight I took was she probably was 6-7 months. Like, I was just like breaking down on the plane. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't control the shit. Wow. Like the person sitting next to me probably thought it was what I was watching on TV or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good movie, but damn, 12 Years a Slave, you know what I mean? But it wasn't that. It was just the thought that I can't protect her right now. You know what I mean? Like, I was always scared about rolling over and all that shit. So when it was time for me to take that first flight, that's the first time in my career where I look forward to coming back home.
Gotcha. I know you dealt with a lot of losses too, speaking of family. Like, I remember on COTI 1, on Break Me Down, you talked about how you lost your grandmother, your father, your best friend. Like, how did you even cope with all those losses?
I don't know if it's a right way to do it. You know, it's just played out for me the way it played out. Sometimes I wonder, I'll be like, damn, you know, I'll be feeling like losses hit me harder sometimes. You know, it's not a good mode to be in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You start wondering like what kind of impact you would have. Like, am I the only one that's tripping like this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is it enough for me to like be devastated like that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I think it's a mixture of how busy I was too. You know, at the same time trying to keep a lot of things in position and around me.
Right.
When you moving, you think you have time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you young and shit and making money and touring and different cities every day, you start feeling like you're more powerful than you actually are. You know what I mean? Like you could just leave something there and when you come back, it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And then you start getting phone calls like, yo, your best friend got killed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, God damn. So in my mind, I'm telling myself, when I get enough money, you could come with me when I probably didn't need enough money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what you thought you needed, you probably didn't need yet. So then that'll turn into, you know, I was in Vegas when I got the news about my father and shit. And it was just like, you know, I kicked myself hard because when I was young and shit, I guess just in my mind, it was playing back like a payback type of thing. You know what I mean? So it's a dip, like I love my dad, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like subconsciously like making him gain back our relationship. If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've been gone for this amount of time, so
Right.
I'm gonna make you wait this amount of time for us to go kick it.
Oh,
As regular as you would like to. You know what I mean? And before he passed, he told me that, like, through a voicemail, like, it was an angry moment, like, yo, you think you could control shit, you can't control time? And that shit just kind of like stuck with me. So when he passed, it had like a real hard effect on me because it was a moment where I resented music. Like, I felt like, you know, this is the shit that took that from me.
Right. I know he said that he put you on to Big Daddy Kane, and when you met Big Daddy Kane, he told you that you were dope.
No, I didn't meet him.
Okay.
He said it on Instagram Live.
Oh, he said on Instagram Live. Okay.
Yeah, he was like, you know, Banks is bananas. And I was like, oh, shit.
So that meant a lot to you.
Yeah, that was like my moment. Like, yo, did you hear that? You see what I'm saying? Like, what? Because when you really think about it, right? Like, we talking about like a 20-year age, like you know what I mean? Like, that's a big fucking gap. 15 years, a whole fucking generation.
Right.
And who my dad thought was dope thinks I'm dope. And then I bumped into Slick Rick in the airport a couple times. And he just was I'm trying to tell him how I fuck with him. And he's like, listen, like, whatever. I fuck with you.
Right.
You got bars.
Rest in peace, Heavy D. I'll never forget,
Oh, wow.
man. Yo,
Heavy
it's
D.
crazy, yo. I met Heavy D, same thing. I'm trying to tell him, you know, how much, you know, I loved what he did and how big of an influence he was. And he literally told me, shut up. Like, shut up, get over here.
Wow.
Give me a hug.
Yeah.
He hugged the shit out of me. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they would just always bring me back down to my, you know, my childhood. Busta Rhymes too, man. Shout out to Busta Rhymes. Like, he always, through my career, he would, you know, grab me up.
Like them Busta hugs.
Yeah, he was like, I don't, you know, this is before, you know, now it's cameras all over the place, but I felt weak a few times.
But outside of your peers, on Trap, you touched on it a little bit. You said, I think you were talking about your grandmother. You said your OG, you know, you got to see her before she passed. I guess she's proud. Were you referring to?
Yeah, well, both of my grandmothers passed. My mother's mother, when she passed, she was able to see my daughter through picture. So I was happy for that part right there. But, you know, you can't get those times back. You know, I learned so much, you know, principles and morals, you know, from my grandmothers. And it's a superstitious type of thing with me. I keep the chains on. Like, she had one, my other grandmother had one, and I had one to match those two. And to this day, I don't take them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, when you're moving around like that and life is happening so fast, man, you literally have flashbacks, like while you're up type shit. The further you get away from home, the more you think about home.
But it's interesting as someone that you that really caught like fame early in your life.
Yeah.
You still have this foundation of family, like, you know, manifested from before you and how you manifest now with your kids. Like, why do you think that's still so much of a part of your essence of who you are?
I mean, you know, that's just who I am. You know what I mean? My friends too, like, you know what I mean? Like that was, I don't know, man. Maybe just where we come from, you know, we, to a certain extent, we appreciate the times because a lot of people be passing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You said that. You've been to a lot of funerals.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of funerals. My first funeral was probably like 10 years old. You know what I mean? So from seeing that early, but when you start experiencing it with your homies, it just really sets a reality check. So whenever we could go, I would go eat, you know what I mean? 20, 30 people. I enjoy stuff like that. Just the moments. Not even,
we did that last night, B.Dot.
But those times, you know, those times are like, it means something, you know what I mean? So just try to, like I said, now I've come to know like what an introvert is. I kind of was that all along. Like even when I was younger, like 14, 15, I wouldn't come outside till like nighttime. I would be on my shift, you know what I mean? Like literally, like I'm gonna get these bars in. And I really feel like them, what they say, like 10,000 hours?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I tripled that.
Right. But sticking with that theme of like unity and family, it felt good to hear you and Yayo together on Don't Switch Up, man. Like, what was the inspiration behind that song?
Just, I don't know, I just think it happened organically. You know what I mean? Like I got so many records, but just playing them records, playing them, I always do that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I drive, you know, play 30 records, but he actually picked that song. You know what I mean? And it just feels like, it feels like 03 to me.
It feels good.
You know what I mean? Like, shout out to my man, Germ, who did the beat. But it just feels like high-tech shit or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like something that would have just been, like, even when I did Can I Get High with Snoop, I don't know why I like certain beats that I like, but I'm a fan of like De La Soul and fucking, you know what I mean? So many different groups. So you know, what you would think I like is like, it's way broader than what you think. I like so many different productions, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It felt good.
Yeah,
like it feels like Yayo was like the glue of G-Unit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, Yayo is the one that he's just energetic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's who he is. Yeah, he always checked me, if that makes sense. Like he always tell me, like, you don't know who you are, man. I'm like, I think I do. You know what I mean? Like, nah, you don't know who you are, nigga. You be like, Banks, you dumbing down. Like, dumb down. When I'm on some rap shit, like he likes the
them pockets, melodies.
But he says that's the dumbed down version of me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which is like the punchlines and just straightforward. But he understands why, you know, I aspire to be like super lyrical and shit.
Gotcha.
You know, you gotta blame that on like Rakim and them, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Rakim told me I'm dope. God damn. What? What?
Yeah.
Like once you get them type of cosigns, man.
Yeah.
It's still care what these kids on the internet may say. It's like, fuck them.
Just like, yo, I don't care. I'm good.
Right.
Snoop Dogg, you know what I mean? When he told me I'm dope, he used to, LB, that's what he used to call it. LB. That shit was crazy to me, man. That's like I said, top 3 influences on my career. So to actually have them on my first album and shit, I'm still excited. I'm still like a student of this shit, and I feel like it's so much room to grow still as an artist. I'm gonna get doper than I am now.
Talking about that growth now is like you're independent. You even mentioned that on Menace, like how everything's independent now. You don't need a permission.
Right.
Like, was being part of the major label system fun, or do you enjoy kind of doing things on your own?
I don't want to take away from many of them times. We had some good times. You know what I mean? And we always had the creative freedom. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it wasn't like 50 was like over us. Like, nah, don't do. You know, it wasn't like that. Like I had full creative
control.
With my project. So it's not too much of a difference. The only difference is the way the system rolled out now. Like back then, solid album would probably last 2 years. You know what I mean? In order for you to tour domestic and then go overseas and hit another 40 shows and then come back and catch the rest. Like, it would take 2 years.
You guys did tours of mixtapes back in those days.
Prior to that, yeah.
Right.
Catching flashbacks. But yeah, like the first mixtape tour, then going into like anger management, and then Rock the Mic tours, and then G-Unit tours, and then solo album tours, and like I've done like 300 shows in a year type shit. You know what I mean?
How do you just like, cause like we're talking about G-Unit, like sometimes people like G-Unit as a brand, like record labels and a movement is a trademark. Like what does it look like when people really think about it, and like what's it like being part of that, and how do you view it, and then how do you deal with when it's like you're kind of on this unstoppable run, and then you know inevitably you hit a little turbulence, right? Like how does that affect you?
Like I told you, it put me in that moment to where, you know, for the first time you're getting like some sort of a doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's over. Like they was pinning that like early on, like probably like 07. Like after my second album, like it felt like that was when things were starting to slow up.
Backlash
and then it was welcoming the internet, the blogs and stuff,
Yeah.
where all these conversations were happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, damn, that shit lit a fire. Lit a fire, even to this day. You know what I mean? I look through my Twitter, or I look through, you know, these comments and people who say shit, you know what I mean? But like, okay, watch this. You know what I mean? I'm going to change your opinion. Like even this guy, like I'm going to change this nigga's list. I'm going to change it because
you make lists?
Yeah, this guy, man. I love that he does that. For real.
I love that you tapped in, man.
I love that he does that because it's necessary. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You had a line that stood out to me. You said, "Been underrated too long. Shit is too confusing."
Too confusing, yeah.
On power steering.
Yeah.
Were you talking to me, Banks?
I mean, you know.
He did tap his hands like that.
Nah, because I know how he feels about me as an artist. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm underrated to that level.
Okay.
But like I said, it's been gaps and shit in between that's, you know, understandable. You know what I mean? But only I could correct it.
What was going on, to go back to the Rotten Apple, what was going on with the second album and your mentality when you look back at it? Like, what was going on with you and how do you view that body of work?
Like I said, things were like shifting a little bit, you know, just like within the label, and, you know, it was big contracts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my advance for my second album was like $1 million.
Sheesh. Those days are over.
Yeah. I never told nobody that, but yeah.
Damn.
It was a big side. You know, I couldn't, so imagine.
But you earned it. I mean, this little hunger for more thing was, you know.
But then imagine what the third one was supposed to be.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So then it all kind of made sense to me. But, you know, I can't cry over that spilled milk because, you know, I'm in a position now to put out 2 or 3 projects a year if I wanted to. Like I said, I gave them 5 mixtapes in 1 year. Yeah. Right? And one of my most, you know, revered projects, Cold Corner 2, formed from that energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if I wasn't in that zone, who knows?
Right.
We gotta get the mixtapes on these DSPs, man. We gotta figure out how to make that work.
Or, you know, just more is more now again. Like when we came in the game, more was more. How you think I had the Best of Banks tape?
Yeah.
Nobody was telling me, nah, that's too many, you know, freestyles.
Oh, Banks trying to tell you, B.Dot, he gonna have another album this year. That's what I heard.
But you approach music differently now, because I read when you made Beamer, Benz, and Bentley, you were forced to make an album out of that, right? So you approach it different. Like,
you
make the album first, right?
I make the bulk of it, right? And see those records, like Beamer, Benz, and Bentley, I write them very fast, like maybe 30 minutes tops, right? Yeah. I would have the beat for a while prior to me rapping to it, but I know what comes with that, right? So like the Batman shit just goes away, right? You know how like Batman just pops up when some shit is going down. When you got a hit record, it's more than popping up when shit is going down. You have to do a lot.
You have to react.
Immediately. You know what I'm saying? So you could imagine delivering that joint and don't have the bulk of what should come after it. And then have the pressure of making another one, then another one, and another one. See, a lot of artists, they'll come with a hit record and have 3 of them after that sound like the same producer did it.
Yeah, do the same thing. Right. Replicate it.
I didn't really do that. Maybe I should have, but
do you feel better now with your catalog that it's like almost like this Like, what is this next run mean for you?
This is,
when you look at it.
Listen, man.
And do you feel like it's a thing of like, with all respect to 50 or G Unit, this is like Lloyd Banks' time and like a very singular way of like,
yeah,
bring the
because
focus
it's a
here.
different Banks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in a comfortable zone now to where it's like I said, it's my selfish moment. I got so many stories in my head. I got so many things that I want to do, you know, conceptually. Like, I'm gonna fuck people up. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to, you know, give too much away, but they'll see, you know, in the next few times they see me, they're gonna understand what I mean, you know. And it's funny, like, I had put a tweet up responding to somebody saying like, ain't nobody checking for Banks, right?
Yeah,
like,
I remember that. Yeah.
I understand. Like, to know me, you know, I do have a sense of humor, right? I never thought that they would take that literal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying it, I'm saying like, ain't nobody checking for Banks.
Right.
Yeah. You're not being serious.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, yes.
But that's not how it was received. Shout out to Martin. He put me up on that word. Like, yeah, I'm like, damn, they read that wrong.
Yeah, they read it like dead
before
on.
I know it spread like wildfire. It made me look like
you're like
I'm
in a sad
losing
place
confidence.
and like,
Nigga, I'm too fucking dope. You think I meant that?
I'll bar you up.
So where does that moniker Lazy Lloyd come from? I think you had it tattooed on you?
Yeah, be honest with you, it came from Lazy Bone.
Really?
Yeah, I never told nobody that. Except for him.
Wow.
I actually met him for the first time. I had like a little tour in Texas with Bone Thugs and Slim Thug. Shout out to Slim Thug.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always showed me love from the beginning.
Slim's a great guy.
But yeah, when I bumped into him, I told him, I said, yo, you know, my name came from you.
Wow. So you thought you were part of like the seventh member of
Everybody
Bone Thugs?
did, man. don't sit here and act like, come
I heard
on,
Banks
man.
rap with that cadence though, man. You got to hit him with that, man.
Yo, I'm happy. That's a lot they don't know. You got to go back to those old mixtapes.
Oh,
I had
true.
a lot of different flows.
Yeah.
And it was crazy how like everything would come like 360 because, rest in peace, the night Tupac passed, I was at that concert in Nassau Coliseum and Bone Thugs was performing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bone Thugs, The Firm, Keith Sweat, which was like weird. He was like the only
that nobody was going hard at the time.
Two-step?
Yeah, but I remember like their production was crazy, man. They had like maybe like 50 people, 25 people on each side with the big pickets, with the skeletons on the top, with the poster boards and smoke and shit looked like the Up in Smoke tour, like some ill shit, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn. From flipping books and just watching I miss my Uncle Charles,
Yo, we're gonna come away with this knowing what like a student of the game you are and like the respect you have for the culture,
listen, man. I love the game.
This
man.
rap shit plays a major part of our lives, man.
I remember when you say that, I remember exactly the moment doing that record. You know what I mean? Like the studio, the vibe, everything. We had just came back off the road and we touched the studio. That excitement, man. And probably still to this day, yo. The studio was like the illest shit ever.
Yeah, I get to like get my voice out to the world.
I remember the first time hearing my voice cut through the mic. Rest in peace, my man, Rough Hands.
DJ Rough Hands.
Yeah, DJ Rough Hands. We was in studio, First Choice Studios.
It's Queens.
It was almost like, remember on Hustle and Flow?
Yeah.
It was like that, like, yo, that's me? Because I never heard how deep my voice was to me. My man is crazy. We used to like record ourselves on like, I don't know, like little tape player shit back in the day and just press play and record or however. And then we had little examples of it, but it was rough. It still was sounding like I'm 10 feet away.
Yep.
Now I'm like, who's that?
Right.
That's how my voice sound? So the voice that they know today, it was like, I was experiencing it for the first time, and ever since that, it was like, yo, we got to get back to the studio. This shit is ill.
Yeah, what you guys did to other people's instrumentals, like the 8 More Mile, that particular record. I was unfamiliar with Eminem's version, but I knew you guys' version.
I'm a soldier.
Yeah, so
Countless joints.
Eminem's show felt like the template to a lot of the early mixtapes.
Eminem show was the first concert that's when I met Eminem. I think it was in Jersey, and I watched it with Paul Rosenberg from like the sound stage thing. That shit was incredible to me to see that production, the clowns and all type of wild shit. That was the one, right? With the curtain and all that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Circus
Yeah,
theme.
that shit was crazy. Rest in peace to Proof. The way he used to be on that stage was crazy, man. But yeah. And he had some dope production at that time. It was crazy.
Yeah, the Till I Collapse was on that project.
Yeah. Like, that was the freestyle that led off when the deal happened.
Yep. Yeah, that was on a big
that was
No Mercy, No Fear. No Mercy, No Fear.
I won't hit you because I'm popular.
Yeah. That was some classic times.
Banks remembers everything.
No. Yale remembers everything.
Right?
Yeah, he remembers everything in detail. It comes back, I lose shit, you know what I mean? But when we get to talking, them times was just like...
I just remembered something too. I heard a rumor, I don't know if you could confirm or could deny, but there was a moment you were supposed to sign with Good Music. Was that happening?
It was a time after Beamer Benz, like going into whatever would have happened after that. Rest in peace, Chris Lighty. He was kind of like the person that was linking that together. So it was, at one point it was supposed to be a G-Unit,
Good music
type of situation.
Wow. Yeah. He's on the Christian Dior denim flow and all that type of stuff.
Christian Dior denim flow. I was on other records too that never came out or whatever. The business didn't get done. But that was probably like what 2010, 11.
Yeah, around that time. Right?
Those are some dope times, man. Going in the studio and Kanye be there, John Legend be over there, fucking Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never, since I was in there with like the whole Shady Aftermath days, that was like my first time being in with a crew that had that many people. Yeah. Ryan Leslie on the keys over here.
Yeah.
Pusha T, you know what I mean? And it was a fun.
You did that Home Sweet Home, that was hard too.
Yeah. Home Sweet Home was crazy.
Was
we shot that video because of Pusha T. Like, yo, we gotta shoot this. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was crazy.
It's funny because it's like you have so much admiration for peers, but at the same time you hate being compared to niggas. You said on Propane, you was like how don't compare
me to niggas without a classic album.
How many? Before we get out of here, how many classes do you have, Banks? Off the head.
How many you need? That's why. How many do you need? And like I said, I don't feel like I made my best album.
Yeah,
I don't.
Still.
Yeah, nah. I know I haven't. I am though.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
I am. That's a promise. I am, and like I said, it's coming back to more is more now.
Yeah.
Right. So if you drop one project a year, and I drop two, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Doesn't that play into your list?
Oh shit. Here we go.
You get that list. Get it together, B.Dot.
Listen, I want to rank you with. I don't have the audacity to rank you with the style that you invented, Banks.
You know what I would. You know what I would love to see?
What's that?
Because I think I might have said this on Twitter. Like, if you niggas knew or could see some of your favorite artists in the room with me, it might change your perception of who you think is dope. No, because it's a difference between like, all right, this is your preference.
Okay.
Let's just keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
You preference him as your favorite. But do you know what he thinks of me? So if you take that top 10 list, right, and you put us all in the studio, how many verses is gonna come from me? How many is gonna come from him? I'm gonna be the last one walking out that fucking room.
Oh shit.
And Lloyd Banks.
That's just a fact. That's not, you know what I mean?
So if you're the PLK, who's the PLP?
What's that? The Punchline Prince?
Yeah.
My son.
Ooh, the fight is fixed.
The fight is fixed.
Big Queens energy, man. Banks, thank you, brother.
Very
rare. This feels special.
Man. Thank you.
Brought us back outside.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everybody that bought the album, that's streaming the album.
Inevitable too.
The Inevitable 2. It was done in 4 sessions.
Woo! Might get another one fourth quarter.
Yo, B, I'm telling you, that's the beauty of, this era right now. I write.
Uh-oh.
When we get out of here.
Because people be...
You're gonna freestyle?
They think it's...
Phones are okay these days.
This Jadakiss did it again, nigga. Go collect now. That's my guy.
Go collect now.
That's another one of like, man. Ever since the beginning, he always has some positive shit to say to me, man.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Gotta love Kiss, man.
Yeah,
and
man.
he's on the album too.
Styles P too.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Often collaborator.
Like just look
Banks
through
is
this,
showing
right?
us.
All of these notes.
Sheesh. Banks is showing us notes at.
Yeah. If they still in here, it means it's not recorded yet.
Wow.
Are those rhymes?
Yeah, these all rhymes, songs,
Damn.
freestyles.
That shit like the 10 Commandments, man. It's like
it just goes.
just keeps going and going.
Look at this. We need these shots right here, baby.
Man.
That's it.
We still going.
Jeez.
That's how you feel?
You see what I'm saying?
That's how you feel?
So it's like it's really just about, you could buy 5 shoes with different colorways, but it might rain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just maybe get 2 of them off, 3 of them off.
But the main thing is you ain't getting low. Like, this is the era where we
Even when-
consistently gonna see Banks.
See, that's the thing. Even when I'm low, you're gonna pay for what was going on in my mind at the time I was low.
Yeah.
That's my muse. That's my therapy.
Gotcha.
So I'm still writing. I'm still staying sharp.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
I'm preserving myself, and with the intentions to come back, like I never left. And I'm excited more now than ever. I appreciate guys like yourself, for giving me this platform. And I want the newer generation to stay honest. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Let's keep going. Shout out to Bobby Smurda. I bumped into him last night too.
Jackpot to hot nigga,
There
man.
you go.
Bless that young man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
I love it.
Love it.
Rap Radar Podcast.
We out.
Yeah.